Okay, good morning and welcome to Iyun with Benzion, Kesubos Daf Iyun Gimel, number 73. We have Machlokas on the bottom of Iyun Beis and Beis, and really this discussion goes through the whole Daf Iyun Gimel about what is the halacha of Kidshal Tanai B'Kin Stam. Our Mishnah is a little vague. The Mishnah on Daf Iyun Beis, was it? Iyun Beis, right? About Mekadesh Al Tanai. The Mishnah mentioned your Mekadesh Al Tanai that she doesn't have Nadarim, she doesn't have Mumim, and you found out that she doesn't have Nadarim and Mumim. So it's not clear what the case in our Mishnah is, but let's Rav and Shmuel say an exact case. Kiddush Al Tanai is Mekadesh Al Tanai, that you don't have Nadarim and Mumim. Then he's Konsistam. They went ahead and got married, and he doesn't reiterate, he doesn't mention again that Tanai, right? At the time of Nisuin, when they were under the chuppah, when they went home and they had the bia, he doesn't reiterate it. So Rav says, Shricha get. Rav says, somehow the marriage is valid, even though the Mishnah says, if you're Mekadesh al Tanai and the Tanai is batel, the Tanai is not Niskayim, the Kedushin is invalid. In this case, it would be valid. Shmuel, and that's how we paskin like Rav. And Shmuel says, Eina Shricha get. You don't need a get. So we paskin like Rav, and the Gemara says, the top of Ayin Gimel and Aleph, Lo Tema time with the Rav came a Shenif Konsistam. Don't say because he didn't mention the Tanai at the Shas Nisuin under the chuppah, or when he took her home and he carried her over the threshold, or they were bowl, they had their bia the first night, because he didn't mention the Tanai, so therefore he's mochel on the Tanai, he waived the Tanai, and therefore he doesn't care if the Tanai is Niskayim or not. No, it's because Eidan also belows nos, right? Because he has in mind when he does the bia, even if I find out, I don't want my bia to be as nos, meaning he's thinking, if the Tanai is Niskayim, right, that she has a Dharma Mumim, sorry, he's not Niskayim, she has a Dharma Mumim, so therefore they're not going to be married, and their bia that they're doing on the first night is a bia's nus, it's promiscuity. He doesn't want to be involved in promiscuity. He's a frum Jew, he's a Haredi guy, he doesn't do promiscuity, he doesn't want to be involved in that. So therefore, he had in mind, even if the Tanai is not Niskayim, I want to be Mekadesh her now, the night of the wedding, with our bia is nus, I want to Mekadesh her now. So even though the original Kedushin is Batel, right, because the Tanai, when he gave her the money, let's say, a couple months ago, or maybe under the chuppah, gave her a ring, he wants the Kedushin to be Chal, at the Shas Bia, right? So that's the difference between the two different ways of explaining Rav, with Mochel the Tanai, or Eidan Amosa Bilas Nos, is, according if the Pshat is Mochel, he's Mochel the Tanai, the Gemara says not the Pshat, that means that he's Mochel the Tanai, and the Kedushin is Chal when he gave her the ring under the chuppah, or he's Mekadesh her 12 months ago with Kesef, whatever, maybe it used to be like that. That would be the first explanation. According to the second explanation, no, really, when she finds out she has mumim and nadarim, the original kedushin is batel, but he's makadesh her through the bia of the first night, bi'ilah of the first night. So it's interesting. That's the practical difference. When does the kedushin happen? Does the kedushin happen when he gives her the ring, or does the kedushin happen through the bi'ilah? Now, if it happens through the bi'ilah, you have a unique circumstance. This is how we paskin. We paskin like this. That happens through the bi'ilah. Now, I explained the difference between bia and be'ilah is that bia is, like the Gemara says in Yevamos, it's either hachdasas ha'torah. Tchilas bia is kona for all arayas in the Torah, for yibum and things like that. If he just, his machnis is the crown of his penis into vagina, or in the shikam b'chutz, or he touches the outside. He touches the outside of the vagina, the lips. So that is considered bia, but the Gemara in Kedushin on Daf Yud, I think, says, and Tosfos says, to answer the question, that by Kedushin, Daito Shel Adam al Gemar bia, which is the ejaculation, which is the end of the bia. So Kedushin is different than regular other arayas or kinyan of yibum, in the fact that it happens at the end of the bia. So that's the difference between bia and be'ilah. Be'ilah, when you become the baal, that's the sof bia, the ejaculation, and the bia is the tchilas bia, is when he's machnis the atara or the neshika. So you have the nisuin over here, right? There's a kinyan nisuin. I explained. Kinyan nisuin is when all the dinim of ksuva apply, right? When they made mazonos takas ma'aseh adeh, perkona takas peiros, skura takas ksuvasa, all those things take effect on the nisuin. Nisuin literally means to pick her up, or the chuppah. And it's the same thing as nisuin, to bring her under the canopy bed, or we, bring her under a chuppah, that's outside in front of everybody else. But it really means under the canopy bed. That itself constitutes a marriage. The kedushin, though, In this case, what happened after the marriage, Begmar Bia, which is very interesting. So it comes out that there's two different types of kinyanim. Whenever you get married to a woman, you get married to the chuppah, the nisuin, and that constitutes a marriage. Really, it's a marriage midarabanan, where all these takanas are abanan, mazonos taxmai say that. And I've said mazonos include all her needs, right, above the bare minimum. But midoraisa, they're not really married, maybe, until the kiddushin, which happens begmar bia, when he ejaculates at the end. That's the gmar bia. What's an afkamin? I said many times that onasa, sherak susav onasa, that case is talking in the Torah. It's talking about an ama ivriya, that the man sells to an adon, to a master, and he gives her and the master gives the woman to her son, the ketana. That's talking about through kesef, and kedusha ketana, father can kaddish his ketana, his daughter is ketana with kesef. Kesef constitutes kedusha, and there sheras tukuzu v'nasa liigra. That is a marriage al raisa. He has the bare minimum midal raisa. He has to provide food. He has to provide clothing, and he has to provide ona, which is the bare minimum of bia. Right? He can just technically go inside and be ejaculated, and not at the foreplay or orgasm and things like that, which are part of the nisuin derabanan. So it's interesting over here. Usually, the way it works is you give her the ring and mekadesh her with kesef. So kedusha happens first, and she's entitled to share ksusa nasa midal raisa. And then when you go home, you have the chuppah and the nisuah, and then the derabanan parts of the ksuva take effect, which guarantee her a good life. In this case, it would be the opposite. In our case, Rav says it would be opposite. The kedushin, which effectuates the marriage del raisa, would take effect at the gemar bia and the tchilas bia, or when he brought her under the canopy bed. That would effectuate the nisuin midarabanan. So it's interesting that the kedushin act, the marriage del raisa, the sherik sutam and also the raisa, the reason it's better, even though it offers her less, is because it's guaranteed on a deraisa level, not just derabanan, because normally marriage, nisuin is derabanan. The ksuva, all the tanai ksuva, the things she gets because of ksuva, only happen midarabanan. Most of the ksuva is midarabanan. And the kedushin, the right she gets to the bare minimum, which is deraisa, only happens to kedushin. And that's why we say under the chuppah, we say alidei chuppah bekedushin, right? A lot of mafarshim ask, why do you say kedushin after the chuppah? First you give her the ring, kedushin, and then chuppah afterwards, which is a kinyan nisuin. So the answer is that in this case over here, this is a case where we find the chuppah happens first, and the kedushin, if you're makadosh with bia, right, and you don't do bia before, and only bia on the first night, so the bia, the Gemara says in kedushin, the bia is only kona b'gemar bia when the ejaculation. So that at the end, so that's what it'll be a case where you have the chuppah, which is kona her midarabanan to a marriage of equal rights and fair rights, a fair marriage, but it's only rabbanan. And then you have the kedushin, the gemar bia, where he's kona the woman, and he owes her midal raisa sherak susav nasa. That happens after the chuppah. Not always like that, but it's very possible in this case to happen after that. Hope you enjoyed today's share. See you in the next one.